Adoatv, bringing good things to life.
Good evening and many thanks to you for staying with us. My name is Reginald Adi and welcome to another edition of PM Ghana. Well, as you saw in the opening of the show, well, you would have seen some past precedents and the inscription wielding of power. Now, the power that is wielded by the head of states, the head of government, the Commander-in-Chief of the Ghana Armed Forces has been brought under scrutiny with the call by the minority in Parliament to review the 1992 Constitution. Now, this is a continuation of the conversation from AM Ghana, where we spoke to Alexander Tete, a communication rep from the NPP, and Honorable George Law, former Member of Parliament for North Tyne constituency. Now, tonight we'll be speaking to a few more guests to find out and ascertain what very aspects and what considerations would have gone into the call for a review of the 1992 Constitution. As said earlier in the morning, I indicated that the recent calls for a review of the 1992 Constitution began from way back well over 10 years ago. Now, in recent times, the call has resurfaced and has become more intense all the way from 2019, where lectures were specifically held for suggestions into the review of the 1992 Constitution. Now, you and I all know, we all agree that every country needs a constitution in order to operate constitutionally. Now, constitutionalism is very key to the proper management of a nation. But Ghana's 1992 Constitution, which was birthed in April 28th, 1992, has been the longest standing constitution since 1957. And interestingly, this is a constitution that the masses express their thumbs up to through a referendum. And this is a constitution that actually is a hybrid form of constitution, actually containing some aspects of the United States presidential constitution or way of constitutionalism, as well as the UK Westminster form or system of government. And so it's a carefully structured constitution, and we have enjoyed the benefits of this very constitution since 1992 up until now. However, the minority is saying that the constitution has well overlived or outlived its essence, as modern times the constitution does not reflect some of the demands of modern times. Perhaps some aspects of the constitution should be reviewed, or if not, then the entire 1992 Constitution. I'll be joined in by my guest tonight via the phone lines, just as we did on Tuesday, and we would try and dissect and properly understand Indeed, we'll be asking if the nation is ready to adopt a new constitution. How long is this going to take? Well, we'll be having the discussion right here on PM Ghana very much after this break. Do stay tuned and don't go anywhere.
Welcome aboard the safest airline in Africa. With industry-leading safety measures to protect your well-being. The first in Africa to earn a diamond standard of safety. Offering a more contactless, safe, and seamless experience. Delivered with a smile by Africa's first fully vaccinated crew. Creating special memories that bring the joy back to flying, so you can continue making memories with your loved ones. Book your flight with Rwandair today. Rwandair, the safest airline in Africa.
Rwandair, fly the dream of Africa.
You for staying with us. You're definitely watching PM Ghana here on Adoatv television with your most humble servant, my humble self, Reginald ID. And we'll be joined in the studio via the phone lines by Honorable Suleiman Adama, the Member of Parliament for Time constituency. If it's on the line, hello, Honorable, good evening. All right, we lost Honorable on the line. We'll try and get him back. So, as indicated earlier, tonight we'll be looking into the pretext or what has warranted the call for a review of the 1992 Constitution. Now, I stated in the morning that recent agitations has shot directly at the 1992 Constitution. When you look at the Fix the Country demonstration, for instance, a lot of the placards or the concerns that the protesters were spelling out was a review of the 1992 Constitution. As they say, it is a cake and has outlived its purpose. Well, we'll seek to find out, and indeed, as if Ghanaians are ready to hold up a new constitution. Well, you can join in the conversation by sending your views, comments to WhatsApp line. They are highly activated. You can also share with us on Facebook, where we are equally streaming at Adoatv Ghana. And always, when you visit our Facebook and other social media platforms, make sure that you like, subscribe, and share so that you don't miss out on important updates. We're still trying to get Honorable Suleiman Adama, who is a Member of Parliament for the Time constituency, on the line. We'll also be speaking to Honorable Ibrahim Murtala Mohammed, who is a Member of Parliament for the Tamale Central constituency. This is basically a minorities call, and they say that this is such viable or fertile time where we have an equal numbers in Parliament to strike the call again for the review of the 1992 Constitution. Honorable Suleiman Adama, good evening and thanks for joining us on PM Ghana. Well, Honorable Suleiman, it has come to light that the minority in Parliament has indicated that it's going to initiate moves for the review of the 1992 Constitution. Wherefore cometh such call, Honorable?
Thank you, my brother. Now, the Constitution
Hello? I'm afraid I'm losing you, Honorable. Hello?
My network is terrible.
It's quite.
Hello?
Hey, yeah. I think it's clear now. Yes, let's hear you.
Okay. I'm saying that the constitution is far finding and yesterday,
Well, Honorable, I think that we're going to have to try to call you back so that we have this conversation because this is quite important to us. Honorable Suleiman Adama, Member of Parliament for Tyne constituency, was just with us, and he was just about expressing where all of this call came in from. Whilst we try to fix the lines, let's go on a quick turnaround. We'll come back and we'll iron these matters out. You're watching PM Ghana. Don't go anywhere. Be right back.
John, wofini nyo. Wow, ebe yefe, edi wabwe juma. I check wofina, oyefe wankasa from Asatek. Oh, na same roofing sheets aba bebre nice keke. Why na kachel? Asatek roofing sheet die, enye nice keke o. With the board dance wa eche yie, enwe na che. Na won colors ahodo fefe bebre. No mu ne free roofing sheet no die. Wo nya dad wa bia o. Na so the board dance wa ejire so pampe. Utumi so kire mo se ne ope roofing sheet no. Ni twa de sama pepepe. Mama po Asatek woni de. Won ma technical advice na estimate free or professional installers nso a your on-site installation. Ne boss kura da pa. Oh yes, quality ne bo da feminine. Asatek 5 days pay na musa kan order na wo after sales service papa bi nso. Hwehwe Asatek Watema Community 2, Meridian Road, Ebenkoko Board Warehouse, Western Region. So Asatek Takrade Anaji, Yeni Princeland Hotel and the Shinimu, and the Volta Region yawo Akachi South District Assembly kwan so ha.
City is a manufacturer and supply of high-quality fashion accessories. We design and make quality bow ties, flying ties, lapel pins, ladies' brooches, fabric necklaces, African wares, and so much more for your weddings, schools, institutions, bands, choir, singing groups, individuals, and so many more. We use both African prints and foreign fabrics to make your beautiful accessories for you. Oh yeah! Contact us via call or WhatsApp or SMS on 0240-926-564. Locate us at Odoko Official Town opposite Emils Preparatory School. Check us out on social media, Facebook and Instagram at Blue City Fashion. Blue City, creativity and style.
Breast cancer is very scary and all, but for some reason, a lot of women think that it could never happen to them. October is here again. It's Breast Cancer Awareness Month. We've come to know that breast cancer is the one cancer that's killing more women than any other cancer in women. This means that all of us need to be concerned and all of us need to take the requisite steps to ensure that we get screened, know whether or not we have anything to be concerned about, and most importantly, know that there is a cure. Breast cancer can be treated and is best when it's detected early. So take advantage of this Breast Cancer Awareness Month and go and get screened. There's free screening available. If you go to Sonotech in Accra, at their branches at the West Hills Mall in Tema or Osu, you can get your screening done for absolutely no fee at all. Also, if you'd like to do a mammogram or an ultrasound, you get it as a good discount during the month of October. It's time for all of us to get tested. Let us get screened. Let us know whether or not we have anything to be concerned about. And most importantly, let us know that if you do have any signs of breast cancer, the earlier it's detected, the better.
Many thanks to you for staying with us, and we do apologize for the inability to connect to Honorable Suleiman Dama. We have Honorable Ibrahim Murtala Mohammed, Member of Parliament for Tamale Central, on the line. Hello, Honorable, good evening, and thanks for joining us on PM Ghana.
Good evening and good evening to your Charles listeners.
Well, Honorable, so we've heard about the call by the minority for a review of the 1992 Constitution. Can you tell us, can you share with us your thoughts and what went into the promulgation of this call?
Well, I think that there was a Constitution Review Commission set up by
Committee?
Mills.
The Constitutional Review Committee?
Yes, the committee was set up by Professor Mills.
Yes.
Of that memory. And what occasioned that was the fact that there are a lot of concerns raised by the people of this country of certain very important provisions in the Constitution and the need for those provisions to be amended, taking into consideration how, fast our democracy is going. A classical example has to do with the Minister for Justice and Attorney General. It is the legal advisor of the president or the government, and the only body with or institution with the authority to determine what is prosecutable. So, and you have the same government, the same person who is supposed to be neutral or is supposed to be independent, yet still the Constitution doesn't give him that opportunity to be independent because he's appointed by the president. So people have raised concerns about this. Another very important issue has to do with the role of the legislature. As the separation of powers demands that the three arms of government must be independent, even though they work in tandem to achieve the lot for the state, to improve the living conditions of people, to ensure that civil liberties are protected. Yet still, you have the hands of the president's side to the appointment of members of parliament, because the Constitution provides that the president must appoint more than 50% of his ministers from parliament. So it leads to some compromises of the independence of the legislature. Because if you have a minister who is a member of the legislature, at the same time is a member of the executive, assuming at cabinet a decision was taken in the area of trade, and that same minister for trade is also a member of parliament, and now parliament disagrees with the executive in that decision which was taken at cabinet, what will be the position of the minister? So it brings about a lot of challenges, and some of us have been arguing that there should be complete independence of these arms of government.
Yes.
That the president should be given the opportunity to appoint ministers. If you want to be a member of the legislature, you be a member of the legislature. If you want to be a member of the executive, you be a member of the executive, as it pertains in other jurisdictions. But there is some understanding. The reason why we have some of these challenges is because of the system of governance we are practicing. We have tried all sorts of systems.
Yes.
Before independence, we ran the parliamentary system, even though we didn't have parliament anyway. When we won elections in 1960, we ran the executive system. And when Buza became the president, we reversed to the parliamentary system. And then that is the Second Republic. The Third Republic, we went back to the executive system. And I guess that because of the myriad of challenges that we face as a state, and the fact that the expected growth of this country is not as we are experiencing. The premise of the 1992 Constitution thought that we needed to run a hybrid system.
Right.
A system that has not been run anywhere, just as the way we run. So we are bound to have some of these challenges. And that occasioned the need for the Constitution Review Committee to be set up by professionals. They did an outstanding work. And to be very honest, the kind of work they did, it wasn't just the committee, the members of the committee, they also brought in experts to support in drafting the report. Unfortunately, that report was never implemented. So the position of the NDC group in Parliament is that we need to take a second look at the report. The president must have the capacity to implement the report. If the president thinks that there are certain aspects of the report he disagrees with, we can all look at it collectively as a people to see what kind of amendments we can make. Mind you, some of the provisions that are proposed for amendment are entrenched clauses, and you need a referendum to be able to amend them. And I guess that would help. Personally, out of all the issues that were raised, I think for me what is critical is one, to ascertain and establish the independence of the legislature, so that it doesn't matter whether your government is empowered, the legislative arm should be completely insulated, so that the president is not compelled to appoint his ministers or 50 plus, ministers from parliament. And again, decoupling the Minister of Justice and Attorney General from the grip of the executive arm, if we really want to let this our democratic processes move faster. And I think that informed the position of the NDC in Parliament.
Well, Honorable, now is that consideration, like you rightfully said, those entrenched clauses in the Constitution, many of which we saw in the 1962 Constitution, would require a referendum. However, you know that the play on the side of opposition to the NDC would impact the referendum. What is the collaboration or level of collaboration with those on the other side of Parliament?
I think that what is important is that we have all agreed.
Okay.
Whether MPs or MPP, everybody in this country agrees that this, our constitution as it is, needs a lot of improvement and amendment. So on principle, we all agreed. And I think that largely there have been some consensus as to the issue of decoupling the Minister of Justice and Attorney General from the executive arm. Definitely. So that the Attorney General could be very independent. And let me give a cluster. In the matter of the prosecution of the terror group who virtually lynched the Ashanti Regional Security Coordinator, and when they were being tried, you had this same group who went to the court brazenly, freed the people who were being tried, and for the intervention of the security, they would have lynched the circuit court judge. You have Attorney General who is to prosecute them, and everybody knows those were MPP boys, those were MPP terror groups trained. The Attorney General went in and filed for no prosecutor. And clearly, this was an attack of our foundation, an attack on the judiciary of this country. There are several cases that you expect that the government would take action, and they wouldn't, because once it involves party people, they may not be able to do that. Right. So if you have the Attorney General and Justice being independent, you can have the Attorney General separate, and you can have the Minister of Justice. If the office is independent, I mean, he can have the luxury, the capacity to do the kinds of work that he would do. So there's largely some consensus on the issue of amending the Constitution or reviewing the 1992 Constitution. There is also some consensus in the matter of establishing the independence of the legislature, in this case by decoupling the legislative arm from the control of the executive. So that if the president appoints his ministers not from Parliament, that is where people will see the true independence of the legislation. But if the president appoints ministers from Parliament, appoints members of Parliament to chair boards or sit on boards, clearly, they may not be able to have the control. And like Machiavelli says, that human beings are greedy of wants and greedy of gain. As long as you shower your blessings upon them, they are all yours. So as long as the president keeps on appointing ministers from Parliament, there's no way he can be independent. If you want to be independent, then the president will either ask you to jump or he will force you out. So I think that we all agreed largely that these are things that are drawing our democratic progress, backward. So if there is a need for that to change. In fact, one other very important is has to do with the local governance system.
Yes.
I have done some work on it, and clearly, if you go to KNUSC, my thesis was actually on local governance. And actually, before the Constitution Review Committee, I had recommended that we could have the MMDCs elected into office. And I gave very, very, very important reasons and justifications for that. And I guess proud to me there have been a lot of authorities and local governors who have suggested same. And so it wasn't surprising to me when the Constitution Review Committee indeed recommended that we could have MMDCs elected. Because once that thing is done, you would see the independence of these members so that the MMDCs will not take the people for granted. But if the president wants someone to be the DCE, if you reject him 2 times, the president can ask him to act. Yes, the president can ask him to act. In Kenya, if you go to Nairobi, the Metropolitan Chief Executive is not a member of the ruling party. And go and see Nairobi how beautiful it is. So I think that we can do some of this. So largely, I'll be surprised if the MPP decides to against them. If they do, I guess the people of this country would understand those who are against the democratic growth of this country.
Right. Well, Honorable, so now let's go back to the Constitutional Review Committee that was set up in 2010 after having submitted its review in 2011. There was another committee that was yet set up to see to the implementation of those reviews. However, we couldn't see the fruition of that committee that was set up. What actually happened such that the reviews were not implemented?
Well, you know, like I said, some of the proposed amendments could only be done through a referendum. And once the committee finished with their work, you know, there was a white paper issued. And that white paper stated government position. You know, we had kickstarted the process. Unfortunately, the NDC lost elections in 2016. If you listen to President Nana Ado's pronouncement on the Constitution Review Committee and their report, it's so disappointing. Frankly speaking, I think that as the president, we run more or less an executive president, even if we have parliament. But the Constitution has given the president so much power, so much power. And I think that these are proposed amendments envisaged by the work of the Constitution Review Committee. So I think that, and Honorable Haruna could not have, you know, put it successfully than he did. That look, we have virtually equal numbers in Parliament. There can't be any appropriate time to have these things implemented than now. So I would urge our colleagues from the NPP to put aside their political interests and look at this country, the progress of this country as a whole. Because I mean, our democracy is so solid now that you have both parties haven't had 2-10 rule of this country. So I think that there shouldn't be any fear if you set the office and you may leave office. A different party will come. The different party comes to be there for the time to leave office. I think we should look at this issue as a very important and see how we can work together to have these things done.
Right. But you agree that we would have to go carefully about this review as suggested by His Excellency the President himself. He says that to have a republic that has lasted nearly 30 years in the context of our history, to change the constitutional arrangement that has assisted this durability, and by durability he is referring to the persistence of the 1992 Constitution, that we should be careful how we go about it. Do you agree that we have to exercise some level of care? And
that is a very lame suggestion. That's why I said the pronouncement of the president were so disappointing. Why? The fact that our democracy has been, we practiced this for at least about 30 years now, doesn't mean that we don't have challenges. Why? Have we all agreed that the parliament is not as independent as it is? What people expect a parliament, the authority of parliament is not being accepted because of this. We all agree. So if we are able to establish and accept the authority of parliament, don't you think that our democracy is better than it is now? It's just like someone driving a Fiat. and that's the only vehicle he has. And he thinks that Fiat has no equal. He needs to drive Benz or BMW and to be able to appreciate that, yes, what he has may not be the best vehicle. Okay?
Right.
Someone riding a bicycle, for bicycle in his world, that's the best. Maybe when he gets a motorbike, he would appreciate that the motorbike moves faster, takes him to his destination faster than the bicycle. And someone having a motorbike thinks same. So the fact that our democracy is doing well, even though he himself would admit that we have tremendous challenges, some of them avoidable challenges, doesn't mean that we should not amend it. We all agree that this our constitution really, really needs to be reviewed because of some of the things I've just raised.
Well, Honorable, you touched on the aspect of the decentralization of government, bringing it down to the least decentralized bit, the election of MMDCs. Now, some analysts have proclaimed that the election of MMDCs could be detrimental to development. For instance, you take a look at the voter regions, voter OT regions, which is a stronghold for the NDC, and it is most obvious or most likely that the MMDCs would come from the NDC. You go to the Ashanti region, which is supposedly also a stronghold of the NPP, and it is obvious that the MMDCs would come from a particular party or sect. Now, couldn't this be detrimental to development, especially when it comes to disbursement of funds when the other side is in power?
Well, I don't see how it can be detrimental to development. In the first place, we started decentralization long before Kenya. How come that Kenya have moved further than we have? We started it before Kenya. And two, I think that it brings forth the need for us to have a national development plan. In fact, a national development agenda. And that's why I was particularly disappointed in President Nana. President Hama got the National Development Commission, and the National Development Commission came out with a comprehensive 40-year development plan. And we lost elections in 2016. In 2017, the commission submitted the plan, the report, to President Nana. And I remember watching him on national television. And he said that he had never seen a very comprehensive, and very good development plan than what was submitted by Dr. Nimoy Thompson and his group. I was an active participant in the work of the commission as a rep of the Ministry of Trade. But the question is that if the president touted it as the best national development plan he had ever seen, why did he throw it somewhere? Why did he? So if we have parliament that's independent, that parliament can enact laws, make it compulsory on all political parties to adhere to what is captured in the national development plan. And I think that our development would have moved faster than it is today. So clearly, we need this. It's not just even necessary. It's essential that we review this constitution.
Well, now, Honorable, let's go back to those the checking of powers that are embedded in the presidency. Now, let's
not forget the issue of the MMDC. You see, the concerns that have been raised by several aspects. Why they think that electing MMDCs could pose some challenge. One, some have argued, on the field of security, that the DT is the the district security coordinator, he is the chair, the metropolitan chief executive is the chair, the regional minister is the chair, and therefore, assuming you have, as we have today, President Nanado being an NPP president, and then the Tamale Metro, the MCE, possibly who could be an NDC, person, and who will be in charge of the security should the president want to visit Tamale. And this are some of the reasons why people raise. And I say that even makes it compelling that MMDC should not be the head of security in the district Metropolitan Assembly. It should be the regional police commanders, the district police commanders. They should chair those. And the reason why we have abuses of security agencies is because of this. Look at what happened in Nigeria. It took the regional minister to direct military to go and gun down people at Nigeria. You think that if he wasn't the regional security coordinator, he would have done that? Because if it was the regional police commander who should be the head of the security, he would have taken into consideration the repercussions and the expertise as to how they can deploy those people. But when you have DCEs, MCs, and regional ministers heading district metropolitan regional securities, a lot of their decisions are influenced by politics and sometimes, sadly, emotions.
Right. So now about the question that I was asking before. Now, you seem to shout phrases on the hybrid system that our constitution is based on. However, some political analysts, for instance, Professor Jampo, who is an associate political science lecturer at the University of Ghana, says that the hybrid system has been the bane of the 1992 Constitution, considering that, especially about the separation of powers, that's considering that the president is required to appoint ministers out of the members of parliament, and that in itself rates the actual separation of powers. Does the hybrid system give us a loss in the sense of our direction as a nation?
Well, Professor Jampo is one of my supervisors for my PhD thesis at the department, and is one person who I hold tremendous reverence.
Right.
And I was starting a young person
Indeed.
who are saying that, and I could not agree with him less. It's the same point in the matter of the appointment of, members of parliament as members of the executive. It's because of the hybridity of our constitution, where you have the president is compelled, because if the president appoints ministers and more than 50% of them are MPs, can go to court. And that's what the constitution has done. Because of hybrid system, we are practicing both the parliamentary system and the executive system, both the American and the British system. And that's really true, and I agree with him, establishing the growth of our democracy in this country.
Well, what could be the problem exactly? That the members of parliament, the parliamentarians that form the legislative arm of government, having been appointed as substantive ministers, is the bane of the operation of the legislative body. Now, if you go into the ministries again, or perhaps the appointment of ministers, there is a percentage that is appointed out of members of parliament. Now, all of these persons owe allegiance to the appointing authority in a way or the other. Should that also be ridden out of the powers of the president? Perhaps these ministers be nominated through other means as well.
You know, the purpose for separation of powers envisaged by the likes of John Locke and Professor Montel was largely to ensure that there's what in the security balance is called the so that power should be distributed among the three arms, the executive, the legislature, and the judiciary. They should be distributed among them. No one arm has more power than the other.
Yes.
And it's done largely to ensure that civil liberties are protected, to ensure that you and I have the right to speak our mind as we speak. Of course, conscious of our responsibilities too, and so that there's no arbitrariness in terms of how the powers given to these three arms are exercised. Now, if you have that, which is anchored on good governance, good governance is anchored on the existence largely of the independence of the three arms. Now you have one that is so powerful that it has the authority or is being enjoined by the Constitution to appoint some members of one arm to work under the control of the leader of the executive. So ministers are appointed from Parliament, and then they sit at cabinet to take a decision. Cabinet decides that the radio gold should be closed, or some selected radio stations.
That's a decision of the NCA.
I'm saying that no, but please, I mean, we should stop pretending and then deceiving ourselves. There's a lot of the things they do them at the behest of the executive arm.
I see.
Okay, perhaps you can use that as an example. For example, cabinet decides that white vehicles or vehicles that are painted white should not be driven on Mondays to ease, traffic. Parliament sits down and thinks that no, that is unreasonable. Now you have a minister for transport who was part in the decision taken at cabinet level. Then government then sent a bill to Parliament. That bill will be sent to Parliament on behalf of the president by the minister in charge. Now that minister will bring the bill for the president. It becomes the bill of the government and the bill that is presented by the minister. Now Parliament decides that it's unreasonable. And that same Minister of Transport is also a member of Parliament. Which side is he going to support?
All right.
So there's a conflict. But where ministers are appointed outside Parliament, then Parliament can be very independent.
Great. Now, there is one other concern. Speaking about the separation of powers again, but this time within the legislature itself. There is the aspect of crossing carpets that is well also enshrined in the Constitution, that once a member of Parliament cross carpets, the seat that he was occupying before is declared vacant. Now, the assumption is that this rids members of Parliament or parliamentarians from acting independently, because it is as though once they belong to a particular political party, they have to by all means vote or take decisions that are sometimes against their conscience but in line with their parties. Should that be an aspect that the parliamentarians should seek to address as well?
Well, not only that, I think that we have majority people, we have minority people. Perhaps we need to let your viewing public understand the whole of the.
Right.
So if you send your mind, this is the position of our side. You have to succumb to that. And two, you see, our constitution also enjoins that members of parliament for the half of a political party.
Right.
In fact, when we're through the electoral commission, we didn't pay the money. The party paid for it for us.
Okay.
It's the party that pays for you. So a party that pays for the filing, that party has authority also to get your admin back. Assuming NDP takes a decision to sack a member of parliament from the party, once the party sacks you from that party, you cease to be a member of parliament. Yes. If the party decides to sack you from the party, you also cease to be a member of parliament. Because you are in parliament for and on behalf of the party. So there's a lot of issues. And for me, these are the compelling reasons, or some of the compelling reasons why this constitution should be reviewed.
Well, now,
okay.
Hello, Honorable.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Well, should we be concerned that these calls for the review of the 1992 Constitution could also affect power alternation?
It will affect what?
Could it affect power alternation? I'm talking about, the terms of rule.
No, I think that the Constitution Review Committee, their report is a public document. It wouldn't. It wouldn't.
Okay. Now, let's look at other aspects of the review. Now, you've spoken about separation of powers, the checking of powers of the executive, amongst other things. Now, I am a journalist and I'm concerned about the 1992 Constitution and its guarantee of press freedom. In this era, the journalists are still suffering brutalities, amongst other things. Would that be consideration for journalists in the review of the 1992 Constitution to instill proper protection and freedom of the press?
Well, I mean, I think that the Constitution as it is ensures the protection of journalists. It takes a tyrannic leader to ensure that you guys are protected. This country, the very day President Muhammad lost his mother, that morning, Manasseh published lies about him without empathy, without respect to our values, our customs and traditions. Several radio stations didn't even take into consideration the fact that a sitting president lost mother and was in a state of mourning. They published those stories about him. Manasseh was never provided security for protection. Manasseh never fled this country. Manasseh was in Ghana under President Muhammad. Manasseh had to flee this country. Manasseh had to look at security. Yet he never did a scintilla of what he did against President Muhammad. When he knew what he was publishing was nothing but lies. Under this government, you have Ahmed Swali, an investigative journalist. It took a very reckless member of parliament in the person of Kennedy Japan, who sat on his TV station, showed the gentleman's picture, and said everybody who should hurt him. Few months after that, the guy was murdered. Kennedy Japan is a 3-man walking. He should have been the first of what he did. I'm not saying he couldn't, but the fact that he brought the guy's pictures and the guy was murdered, what happens to it? No journalist is protected under this government. We have a Catholic rulership under this government. Under President Muhammad, people said all manner of things against him. Attempts that so the Constitution has provisions that ensure the protection of journalists. It takes a tyrannic leader such as Nanado to ensure that you guys are not protected and you are not safe.
Yeah. So this is why I'm asking, would there be any consideration, especially now that the minority is making the call? You have expressively indicated that the NDC is quite friendlier to the media. If I'm translating your words right, would there be any push to at least review the press freedoms as enshrined in the 1992 Constitution?
But well, after that, when the committee was doing their work, they sought opinions and views from all manner of institutions. They traveled around the country, and I believe that if there were some concerns, the National Media Commission, the GID, the Ghana Journal Station, and other media, groupings would have submitted petitions expecting some action. And I believe that they did. They complete their work, their report is available.
Well, for the submission, for the petitions, a lot have been submitted, especially with all the brutalities amongst other things. But let's move on to another aspect that may be in line with a review of a constitution, and that is human rights. There has been several emergence of new human rights that are being sought by several groups in the country, and the recent and typical amongst them is the LGBTQ plus.
Well, I first and foremost, I don't think that the understanding I had was that we're going to talk about LGBT.
No, not entirely.
I beg you.
Okay, honorable.
My position on LGBTQ, this is not right. This is complete madness, and we will accept it today. We won't accept it any day. And I think that those who are defending same under the guise of human rights, and I think that some of them are absolutely hypocritical. One, when the rector student was denied the opportunity to be admitted into an institution, did you hear any of our professors speak? When the Muslim students at Western Girls were denied their right to practice their religion, did you hear them speak? Those bunch of hypocrites who are now speaking out and who are the loudest, why didn't they speak out? Look, the Western world, we know they are now targeting academia. They are now targeting civil society organizations. They are now targeting NGOs. They are targeting data. They are targeting religious groups with money. We will resist this, and that is why those of us who are promoting this bill in Parliament would support, enforce, and ensure that this bill is passed. And like I said, every single member of Parliament would have to vote openly so that our conscience will know the position we are taking. So please, it's not an issue of human rights. It's complete madness. If it is an issue of human rights, why didn't they speak out against Achimota for refusing to admit someone on the basis of his appearance? Why did they deny Muslim students the right to practice their religion as enshrined in the 1992 Constitution? When they didn't speak out, where were they? Where were they? Look, the bill is in Parliament. We thought this bill is passed, and we expect the president. Because if you have a president who says it is bound to happen, we started it with the Deputy Minister of Information. Have you seen him speak about it again? Because the president wants. He won him. Just yesterday, you have the majority leader. In fact, 3 days today, the Honorable Chairman of the said, oh, they are in support of it to pass. And I was interviewed by a sister TV station. And I said, the man was yesterday, you know what I said? That if the thing is not taken by the Minister of Justice and Government, that it would not succeed. So he was deceiving the people of the so please, I don't think I would want to talk about it. This LGBTQ, you know, look, how can you have a law that is an ending? LGBTQ plus. So tomorrow, someone decides that he wants to be sleeping with the daughter and tells me that that is human rights. Please, I beg you.
All right. Well, Honorable, finally, before I let go of you, for those entrenched clauses that would require a referendum, do you think that Ghanaians are ready, and perhaps that Ghanaians understand the essence for which they would be voting in a referendum? Should we get to that point?
Before a referendum, there will be a lot of sensitization, education as to what is proposed to be amended. All those things will be done.
Right.
That is what NCC would come in.
Yes. And
I think that when the time comes, people would understand. Don't misunderstand the people of this country. They have a proper appreciation of what the Constitution entails.
Not at all. Now, in the meantime, when Parliament reconvenes soon, we have had hints about the resurfacing of the Ijapa royalties deal. Briefly, how are you going to...
We will oppose this thievery with all the might. It's thievery. We will oppose it.
All
that
right.
one I can. If no one will oppose it, me, Muchala, I will oppose it with any might I have. It's thievery, it's robbery, and we will not allow one family to rob this country. Look, you just need to have a Kuriata attached to your name, and you can get anything in this country. We will oppose it. That's sure.
Well, Honorable, we'll have an in-depth conversation on that one when we get there, just as we do. Very well. Thank you very much for your time this evening. Very, very grateful. Well, so that was Honorable Murtala Mohammed. He's Member of Parliament for Tamale Central. I'm always grateful to him. Anytime we call on him, he's there to respond, and always very vocal on some issues. He has expressively expressed his note about the review. And the thing is that the review, or the call for the review of the 1992 Constitution, seems to be a thing for both sides in Parliament. Somewhere in 2020, the majority leader, Osechi Mensah-Bunzu, also Minister for Parliamentary Affairs, said that it is high time they reviewed the 1992 Constitution. He made this when he was he made a statement when he was delivering a speech on the effects of COVID-19, and just a year after, the minority has also taken this up. Even before the minority and majority sides decide to speak on these, several institutions, from religious institutions, CSOs, NGOs, amongst even some individuals, have called for the review of the 1992 Constitution. Yes, What a good time to call for a review of the Constitution than now, where we have a balance in Parliament. Well, many thanks to you for joining us. I believe that you've gotten the essence of this very interview. And when we get there, as Honorable Mutala says, the NCCE would be churning out all forms of education to keep us abreast with the essence of the review of the 1992 Constitution. And if any change would come in at all, this is an answer to many of you who have called for the review of the 1992 Constitution. And we hope that it serves our country and serves our interests as Ghanaians and ensure our sovereignty. My name is Reginald Adi, and many thanks to you for watching what has been a pleasure serving you. Have a lovely evening. I'll see you next week, Tuesday. It's bye for now.
Mo, mo, mo,